How do you save money on a wedding? They've become completely expensive affairs, $30,000, $40,000 they might cost you. And if you've been to one of those super expensive weddings, well, have you ever come away from it thinking that was the greatest party I've ever been to? Or have you just been a bit ho-hum? If I was spending $30,000 or $40,000 on a party, I'd want it to be the best party that I could possibly throw. So how do you throw a wedding, a great wedding, without breaking the bank? Bearing in mind the average Australian wedding costs $34,000. Here's a tip. Here's a suggestion. Surprise and pop-up weddings. They're becoming extremely popular ways to cut costs and still have a day to remember. Jackie Hartwell is from Upcycled Bride. She's here with some tips. Jackie, I can't believe $34,000 is the average cost for the Australian wedding. How can we get out of spending this much money on the special day?
It is so expensive. That's a lot of money out of a mortgage. That's even 2 cars worth. So for the average family, that's just so unaffordable nowadays.
And especially when, like, you never hear anyone coming home from a $34,000 wedding going, that was the greatest party I've ever been to. You never hear that, do you?
No, you don't. And I think the same thing goes for a $15,000 wedding. People wouldn't know, and it does take a lot more work and effort, but it definitely can be done. Definitely.
So the pop-up wedding is one of the ways that people are getting around this. What exactly is it? How are people holding pop-up weddings?
So it's come over from Las Vegas, which is awesome, and it's basically it's just taken Australia by storm. It's a collaborative of wedding industry people, such as photographers, a florist, a cake maker, a celebrant and venue. And so they set a date, and there'll be, say, 6 weddings that day. You get an hour, under 20 of your closest friends and family, and away you go. So you get everything for, like, usually under around $2,000. So all you have to do is go out for dinner or a picnic or a barbecue afterwards, and you're done. So that cost is just fantastic.
But you don't get to invite many people in that scenario.
No,
how many people did you say?
It's under 20, so it's kind of like an elopement, but a planned elopement. So, because obviously the laws in Australia say you have to register your intention for marriage 31 days prior to your date. So, it is kind of like a planned elopement.
Okay, and people do them in a group of people, is that right? So you'll have a group elopement.
Yeah, so, they have the 1 hour slot weddings, so you get an hour, basically, with your celebrant, your photographer, and to get married and just a toast afterwards, and then you go away to a reception. But it's becoming massive in Australia, yeah.
How popular is it becoming? Like pop-up events are becoming big, but just how popular are you seeing this event becoming, the pop-up wedding?
Yeah, it is. Every 3 months they're doing it down. I'm based down in quite an influential wine region where weddings happen all the time, and they're doing it every 3 months at the moment. But in peak wedding season in the summer, it's happening monthly. So they are popping up in every major city. I'm not too sure about Darwin, but there is a business idea there for someone.
Yeah.
It's sweeping Australia.
What do you get for your $2,000? You get your celebrant, you get your photographer, and that's about it?
Yeah, so you obviously don't get shots from your reception, but you get your photographer for an hour, which is pretty good price in that $2,000 to get a photographer for an hour. You get a little cake. Some people do, some people don't supply cakes, but you do get a bouquet and a buttonhole, your celebrant, your venue for your ceremony, and you get toasting champagne at the end. So Yeah.
Alcohol can become a huge expense at a wedding, and I have a tip that I would like to share. We provided alcohol at our ceremony for our guests. We, got the cheap stuff and had it there so people could enjoy a nice cool beverage at the ceremony, which we had outside, and then we had the reception elsewhere. But that meant that people didn't drink as much when they got to the bar at the reception. So putting on a few drinks, in eskies, we could make it BYO, and that made it really nice and relaxed.
Absolutely.
That was actually a nice way to save money. Henry suggests on the text that having a midweek rather than a wedding weekend can pull down costs to almost half.
Absolutely.
Why is it so? Why is it? Is that just because they don't have as many bookings during the week and so they charge less?
Yeah, and they're trying to encourage it. So, down here, I think something like 35 weddings happens over a weekend. So if they can get, and that's a huge income, because as soon as you mention the W word, the price hikes. So if they can get that more as well midweek, they're getting an awesome income. But then also so they're trying to encourage it more for themselves, but also knocking the price down for you.
If you can pretend that you're not getting married, you can probably save money as well, can't you?
Totally.
I'm having a party for about 80 people, just like some catering for that, maybe a cake,
right.
if you can sort of get around it without mentioning the W word.
And may or may not wear a white dress.
I like white. I look good in white. What are you suggesting? And what about surprise weddings? Is that sort of a similar trend as well at the moment? People being invited to a party and then the couple just getting married?
Yeah, I think so. And again, it allows you to keep the numbers down, so you don't have to invite unnecessary people that you'd feel like you're obliged to at a wedding. So it definitely is a way to keep the cost down. If they're still booking the photographer and the cake and the catering and the venue and so forth, the price is still there, but definitely a way to keep the numbers down and the cost down, because it can cost up to $150, $200 a head at some venues for food and alcohol. So, it is a smart way.
Jackie Hartwell's from Upcycled Bride, just talking about the increase in the pop-up wedding. You do it sort of as a group. You spend a couple of $1,000. They provide you a celebrant, a photographer. You get all that done, all that getting married to each other bit, and then you go and organise your big party. You've got, $32,000 left to chuck an awesome party, Jackie. If we're talking $34,000 for the average Australian wedding. Jackie, nice to talk to you.
You too. Thank you.